it's live, pal.
Sorry.
We will ban you from the Summerfest.
Right here in the Silverdome.
Jeff Harvey.
And I have half the brain that you do.
Welcome to the Wrestle Hunks Podcast, a podcast where three hunks get together and discuss some of the very worst things you can find on the WWE Network, and the only podcast that has, well, I haven't changed that this week. I'm fucking repeating that I have backstage heat with Beth Phoenix.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that last week, bro.
Yeah, we didn't really mention that. Fuck Beth Phoenix, she's a piece of shit.
Hey, man. I like Edge, so don't say things.
Hey, if you Twitter search your own name, you're a coward.
Matt Jackson.
Matt Jackson and Beth Phoenix, king and queen coward. That's all I'm saying.
Unless people were fans of them and they listen to this podcast, we're just joking.
Yeah, we're just ripping you. We love them. But me and Beth Phoenix go way back.
Yeah, I love Matter.
So I'm your host, the Mordecai of microphone, Brandon Marlow, and as always, I'm joined by the hunkiest hunk, Brody Price.
Hey.
And
it's Conrad Thompson.
I've been listening to so much Something to Wrestle lately. I've listened to 10 episodes in the past week. I'm sick of Conrad's voice now.
Jeez.
You couldn't get sick of that voice.
It's jolly.
Him and his hate for Triple H. Come on, he's not that bad.
He's a good guy. We'll see that later on in the show.
The other voice you're hearing on this podcast is the IMDb of wrestling and the birthday boy, Nathan Marlow.
Woo!
Do I know one?
You get a whole year to say that when people ask you what your age is.
Exactly, and then they get a whole year of saying about the Taylor Swift song 22.
Oh, what great back-to-back years.
Exactly right. And I can be the Michael Jordan of podcasting. 23.
What can you do for 24? 24/7 hardcore title.
Fuck. We'll get there.
Got a couple of years to think about it.
Cross that road later on.
So the Wrestle Hunks Podcast is again brought to you by a sponsor, and this week it's Hulk Hogan's Hulkamania Slot Machine. And as always, our expert on the sponsored products here is Nathan Marlow, and he's going to tell you a little more about it.
RAW Roulette is proudly brought to you by Hulk Hogan's Hulkamania Slot Machine, brother. I'm wheeling and dealing, dude. James Packer, fuck you, brother.
Is that it? Just end on fuck you, James Packer. Very niche reference.
That was amazing.
Homeboy in Mexico doesn't know who James Packer is.
He's the head honcho of our casinos here.
Yeah, he's kind of like the old Donald Trump.
How can people not know him? He was literally engaged to Mariah Carey. Everyone knows who he
true.
is.
Yeah, a lot of people should know him. They might know him more as the fat dude that was engaged to Mariah Carey, but
gave her the most expensive ring in the history of the world.
That's
a fact.
Water off a duck's back for him.
Talking about a wrestling ring is what we're talking about.
Hey, Mariah Carey could work. She could work a paddle and a pole match.
I'd better see that.
So this week we're reviewing the very first installment of RAW Roulette, and RAW Roulette was a resounding winner in the Twitter poll this week, crushing everything in its path on the way to 48% of the vote, which I think is probably the highest amount of percentage of votes that any one option has got so far. The debut episode of Velocity and the Sin City SmackDown from 2012 attempted to put up a fight with 23% and 21% of the vote, while Crazy Stupid Love Show was the worst option we've had with just 8%. Is this what would have happened if we didn't rig the vote for Santino's Royal Rumble Lottery Spectacular last week?
I mean, we didn't rig it that much, did we?
We rigged it like 4 or 5 votes.
Yeah, no, it's not that much.
But yeah, I just think for some reason people just really wanted to vote for Santino.
It's probably just has that name in there. They see Santino, they want to see more or hear more.
They see Santino and they're like, "You son of a gun!"
I wasn't ready.
They just wanted to relive Santino's best moments.
I think we sort of did that.
I think we did, yeah. I mean, his career basically peaked at that early elimination in the Royal Rumble, so...
Yeah, and it's hard to do the trumpet thing on a podcast. So.
Yeah, on an audio-only podcast, pretty hard to get across the trumpet that he'd do.
If anyone says it's in public, just ask us to do it and we'll give it a shot.
So had either of you seen this episode of Raw Roulette before this podcast?
When you threw it up, I think last week you said like the first Raw Roulette. I thought it was 2003. I didn't know it was 2002, so I didn't even know they had this happen beforehand. So I had no idea.
I learn something new every day.
If you're not learning, you're not living, as I say.
What about you, Nat?
I have not seen this.
That surprises me. You watch some just random stuff.
Yeah, I just haven't got into RAW Roulette.
I always expect you to be like, yeah, I've watched this thing. You're just,
I'm just
crazy
getting through Tough Enough 2011 right now.
Why 2011?
I won't spoil it for you guys, just in case you haven't caught up from 2011.
Doesn't Silent Rage win that season?
I don't fucking know. I haven't finished it.
Is it
Alicia Fox's sister is in it.
Sister?
Yeah, I didn't know that till I searched her up.
I didn't know that was a thing, and I'm pretty sure I watched that season.
She's the last diva in it.
Oh, good for her. I hope she goes far.
Pretty sure she quit the biz.
Well, rest in peace to her then. So it's time to move on to the history, build-up and background for the very first episode of Raw Roulette. It was held on October 7, 2002, and on this day in history, not a lot was happening. There was no significant events or deaths or anything, unfortunately, so Nat can't make fun of some fucking German dude this week. But we do have the numbers for the box office and the top song on the charts. The number one movie at the box office was Red Dragon, and the top song on the charts was The Long and Winding Road by Will Young and Gareth Gates. And I just wanted to mention here, what a fucking terrible time for pop culture. Who's ever heard of either of those things?
Can't say I have.
Like, I thought Red Dragon was a tag team on the Indies.
Yeah. I'm surprised he did.
Pricey's just gone off to take shit.
He's literally dead. We're going to continue, us two.
Oh, well, rest in peace to Pricey. Gone too soon. Next week will be Brody Price.
He's gone.
He's left the Discord.
No, let's keep going and see when. Clearly,
Pricey was a huge Will Young and Gareth Gates mark, and he's just like fucking. He's had enough.
He's had enough of the slander.
He just texted me and said, "Did I drop out?" So. It wouldn't be this podcast if we didn't have technical errors. Is he back?
Show goes on. Fuck him.
He's back under the name P Money. I don't know if he can hear us though.
Let's continue. Let's just go.
So the location for Raw Roulette in 2002 was the Thomas and Mack Center in obviously Las Vegas, Nevada, which is the whole reason they're theming the entire night around roulette. As for the ratings, this episode did a 3.8, and this was Raw's highest rating in almost 2 months. They had done a 3.9 on the August 26 episode, but since then they'd fluctuated between a 3.4 and a 3.6. Overall, the show, in general, in 2002, had taken a significant downturn for the ratings. For the first 5 months of 2002, they wouldn't drop under a 4.0 rating and occasionally would pull in a 5. But then Raw would reach these heights only once more in 2002, which actually happened the very next week. So clearly people were a little excited about all the stickiness that they saw on Raw Roulette.
Well,
so they
probably wanted Kane to win all the titles.
Yeah, Kane just collected all the belts. He's the original belt collector. Austin Aries can go fuck himself.
I've got good trivia on those titles later on.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you had good trivia on Austin Aries.
Austin Aries has no trivia, mate.
Austin Aries has no friends.
I hope he puts this on his Instagram.
Oh yeah, I hope he retweets the podcast. Maybe we'll talk shit about him in the promotional tweet for the podcast, and then hopefully he retweets us and gets us some more exposure. Latest update from Pricey is fuck give me a sec in the group chat.
Let's keep going till we need him to talk because we've got a bit to cover.
So leading up to this episode of Raw was the 2002 Unforgiven pay-per-view, which was a co-branded event. They hadn't started doing single-branded events. And on this card, we saw Booker T, Bubba Ray Dudley, Goldust, and Kane defeating Christian, Lance Storm, Test, and William Regal, the Un-Americans, in an 8-person tag, which Meltzer enjoyed if he gave 3.25 stars. We also had Chris Jericho defeating Ric Flair by submission to retain the Intercontinental Championship. Eddie Guerrero defeated Edge via pin. Jamal and Rosie defeated Billy and Chuck via pin. Triple H defeated RVD for the World Heavyweight Championship. Trish Stratus defeated Molly Holly to win the Women's Championship. Chris Benoit defeated Kurt Angle, and Brock Lesnar would have a double disqualification draw with The Undertaker in a match for the WWE Championship. And this is arguably one of the best pay-per-views the WWE have ever held, if you base it purely on match quality and if you actually respect Meltzer's ratings. It has an average Meltzer rating of 2.78 stars, and it's mostly dragged down by one poor tag match and one poor women's match. It has 4 matches on the card rated between 3 and 4 stars and a 4.5 star match. So clearly, in-ring quality was pretty high at this period in time, even if the ratings were down.
I've never seen this.
Yeah, I've never seen it either. And a lot of matches on that card, I'm like, I don't...
Seems good, though.
know any of them. Like, I don't remember anyone talking about Benoit and Angle in this match. I remember heaps of people talking about their Royal Rumble match, but Unforgiven 2002... never heard of it. Do we finally have Pricey back here, or?
Hey, we're live, pal. We're live.
You ding dong.
It's just some internet troubles out here in Hunksville, Alabama. That's all.
You jinxed yourself. Last week, you were talking shit because me and Nat had random sounds happening on our microphone, which, by the way, I don't think showed up in the actual final edit somehow.
Yeah, I think we just sounded like dickheads last week saying, like, oh, what's that? And there's nothing happening. Which was funny.
Just a bunch of bullies.
I hope other people found it funny because when I listened to that back, Nat fucking having the microphone troubles was hilarious. And then him losing his phone, one of the funniest things we've ever done.
Made it even better.
Yeah, you jinxed yourself by saying you never have any troubles, and now you've dropped out. But you're back with a new gimmick.
Am I?
Yeah, your screen name says P Money with $3 signs next to it now.
I've changed it multiple times throughout us being on Discord right now, and you guys have only noticed it now, so that's fine.
Well, I appreciate that you've been doing that. Just popping yourself.
Yeah, I know. I'm the only one laughing at it, so that's good.
Well, I don't know if you heard, but we were just discussing the Unforgiven 2002 pay-per-view being one of the better pay-per-views that the WWE's ever put on.
Yeah, I think is that all I missed?
Pretty much, yeah. We talked about ratings, but yeah, you didn't miss too much. For Unforgiven 2002, have you ever watched any of these matches or remember people talking about these matches? Because me and Nat were saying we don't really ever hear people talk about these matches, even though it's one of the most consistent pay-per-views WWE's probably ever put on.
I don't think so. Just looking at the card and looking at the year, I would have assumed that I would have seen it, but I don't recall watching any of these matches. And I caught you saying Benoit and Angle, and you're right. If it's 4.5 stars like that, you wish people would talk about that more, but that's not one that I hear come up.
Underrated pay-per-view. People need to get out there on the network and watch it.
Absolutely.
So I had a little fun fact here about the RAW Roulette Wheel. So all of the segments involving the RAW Roulette Wheel, or the vast majority of these segments were taped, which seems pretty obvious, as leaving something like that to chance while live would be absurd. However, most people assume that the wheel was weighted in some way to make it land on the option they want, but allegedly this isn't true, and instead they have a person standing behind the roulette wheel controlling it, and a black piece of tape is on the back of it, which guides them where they need to land, which I thought that was a neat little bit of trivia. I would have just assumed that they would have weighted it in some capacity to make it land on hot lesbian action, but no, it's just some dude behind it.
Yeah, I had that in one of my notes, was that I assumed they were all pre-tapes and they were all, it was all gimmicked, which I won't have to say it later. Thank you for that.
Just shout out to the dude that they'd make do the roulette wheel. That's a pretty big job, and haven't seen them or heard of them doing any fuck ups. So good on him. Get him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I hope it was Howard Finkel.
Oh, Fink's pretty small, so he'd definitely be able to hide behind that.
It's a jack of all trades, I think.
So before this episode of Monday Night Raw, an episode of Sunday Night Heat was taped, and in the dark match, we saw Solo defeating Horseshoe via pin. And I mentioned this to you the other night, Pricey, but this was the match that I was confused by until I looked it up. And Solo is Sim Snooker, and Horseshoe was Luther Reigns.
What night did you tell me this?
Saturday. That's probably why you don't remember it.
Yep, that's definitely why.
Yeah, neither.
But yeah, I didn't know either of these guys went by these names, especially Luther Reigns going by the name of Horseshoe.
Yeah, where's Horseshoe come from?
Yeah, I'm so confused.
That's
But
interesting.
yeah, I thought that was a neat little tidbit them in the dark match. As for the actual matches that appeared on TV, we had Mark Jindrak defeating Just Incredible via pin, and then in the main event, Lance Storm defeating Johnny Stamboli via pinfall, which I'm sure fucking Mr. Personality Lance Storm would have been just tearing their house down, getting the crowd onto their feet at that point in time.
Man, I'm pretty upset. The ball, Johnny Stamboli didn't get the W.
Look,
Didn't get any.
I'm going to be honest. I didn't really know that Johnny Stamboli did anything.
I mean, apart from the FBI, I don't know if he did do anything.
Was he in the actual FBI, like on SmackDown?
The SmackDown one he was. I'm pretty
Was
sure.
he? Oh, did he get kicked out at some stage? Because he wasn't around in the Nathan Jones stuff we did, was he? Or maybe he was. I don't know. I can't remember.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't. Who was with Chuck Palumbo?
Chuck Palumbo, Nunzio, and Tony Mamaluke.
Okay, yeah, that makes
And
sense.
then there was Big Guido as well.
What a team, the FBI. We bring them up almost every week, I reckon.
They deserve it.
Do an FBI podcast one week.
We probably could, to be honest, if we just limited it to WWE. Obviously, if you do ECW, that shit's going to be like fucking 10 hours long.
Yeah.
But with that episode of Sunday Night Heat in the books, it leads us on to the main show. And the number of dead people on this show, as far as I could tell, was 1. And surely you boys can get this one.
D'Lo Brown. I'm just kidding. It's a test.
It's our big dog test.
What about
I
my
thought it was
test?
Hurricane.
I mean, after that vicious beatdown he gets in the main event, he might as well have been
Exactly.
dead. He also he gets his identity revealed. His mask comes off in that, which I thought was a little bit of
But he had face paint on.
Yeah, he did. So I appreciate Shane Helms just really living the gimmick there. So the show kicks off, and I just wanted to give a shout out to the little gimmick video that plays before the show that shows like all the logos for the currently airing shows in the WWE. Always enjoyed that.
Bring it back.
I know, right? You get to see, there's a little logo for Velocity. There's Tough Enough. Really appreciate that when I was a shitty little kid. But to start the show, we get a video package of various casino shots instead of the regular Raw intro. We then see a close-up of Eric Bischoff smiling like a pervert, and he welcomes us to a special edition of Monday Night Raw. He introduces us to the RAW Roulette Wheel and details some matches that are on the wheel, like hot lesbian action, and I was ask, what the fuck is this? Like,
I mean, when I read that, because it was at the top, I'm just thinking, geez, I hope like just 2 guys come in, spin the wheel, and the match is a hot lesbian action match. I'd just like to see what that would mean.
like yeah,
Wait,
what
do
is
you
that?
not understand HLA?
It's wasn't it like a running gag that Bischoff was doing at the time?
Yeah, and then he had 2-minute warning coming up, or 3-minute warning, whatever. And
Why?
killed
Why
him.
was that the payoff?
I don't know. Just funny.
What? So he was just like, oh, you're gonna watch some lesbians make out. Oh, just kidding. It's 3-minute warning. Is that what
Yeah, Rosie and Umaga.
That's good for him. That's funny.
So if it landed on HLA, is that what he was planning on having happen? Jamal and Rosie coming out?
Maybe? I don't know.
I'm disappointed we didn't get it. Like we saw this, it was like at the top of the wheel. I figured they're showing it. Like we'd get something of that variety, but
No, we get a showgirl match.
Well, yeah, we do get a lot of real just pervert wrestling matches here, so you can't complain too much.
yeah, I guess so.
But some of the other matches on the wheel include Bischoff's Choice and Kiss My Ass. He then says that the wheel represents what Vegas has to offer, and then he lists off a bunch of things like fucking greed and sin and shit. Bischoff spins the wheel for the first match, and it turns out to be a steel cage match, which the crowd pops like crazy for. Then we get the actual Raw intro, and just quietly, no bias, this is the best Raw intro.
Yeah, I have here the best Raw intro. Sorry, Nickelback.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't mind the Nickelback theme.
It's not the worst.
Papa Roach is pretty good.
That's pretty good too. All of those are better than Tonight is the Night. That was a garbage theme. It made me want to never watch Raw.
Take that back.
It wouldn't get me pumped up.
Okay.
But then we also see that people are watching this show at the World in New York, which I was impressed that the World was still open at this point. So shout out to all the people that went there.
I didn't know they had that, like that shot for Raw. And, well, I guess they probably wouldn't have it for SmackDown, but I'm just used to seeing it pay-per-views and never at Raw.
Yeah, that's the first time I remember seeing like them crossing over to the World on something that wasn't a pay-per-view. I didn't realize that they were doing that for Raw. I assumed they couldn't do it for SmackDown because it was taped, so just people would go there to watch SmackDown and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna get on," and they'd be like, "No, too bad. Watch this Nathan Jones match now. Watch him squash Shannon Moore."
That's a good match, bud.
So we get into our first match of the night, which is Booker T defeating The Big Show via escape in a cage match. This goes 8 minutes and 7 seconds. The Big Show here is angry because he lost to Jeff Hardy by countout last week, and why is every Big Show feud in this era seemingly started by him losing randomly to a cruiserweight? Like, he has that feud with Ray where he got embarrassed because he tripped over or something. Like, they're not giving him much.
That's the only way for the little guys to get over the big dog.
Hey, Jeff Hardy is a big horse. He could take the Big Show down whenever he wants.
Just hit him with that whisper in the wind.
So as for the match itself, Big Show attacks Booker T as soon as he gets in the cage, and Big Show dominates for most of the match. Big Show goes to walk out of the door at one point, but decides to stay and beat up Booker some more. King then on commentary nominates himself to be in a Raw Roulette match tonight, while just calling this match randomly. And then we see the Big Show get caught between the ropes and the cage, and Booker hits a scissor kick. He starts to climb the cage, but Show comes after him, which leads to Booker doing a top rope scissor kick. Booker then tries to escape again, but Show stops him. And they're both on the top rope, and Show attempts a chokeslam, but Booker low blows him, allowing him to escape over the top and win. But after the match, Chris Jericho runs out and attacks Booker from behind. He exposes the padding on the barricade and throws Booker into it, and Booker gets busted open here. And Jericho is doing all of this because Booker T called Jericho a sucker. So Jericho also getting the great feuds here.
I couldn't imagine a worse insult that Booker T could say to someone.
He was really offended by it. Like when he gets interviewed later on, and he's like, "No one calls me a sucker." Like
it's a nasty word.
It could have been worse, but
it could have been Hulk Hogan.
So what did you guys think of this match opening up Raw Roulette?
It sort of set the tone for how sort of like full on this Raw would be, like with the match types and stuff. Like they opened with a cage match. That's pretty rare. I don't recall seeing a Raw open with a cage match very often.
I think just quietly, King may have said that exact line on commentary, so I appreciate that. You and King just on the same wavelength.
King and I have a lot of similarities, as we're finding out each week. One thing I noticed was like this one didn't have pinfalls, this cage match, but then like some cage matches do.
Yeah, I hated when they started going full on with like every cage match has a referee in it, like they go over pins. Like, what's the point? Like, it needs to just be escape.
Yeah. I just wanted to point out some guy in the front row had an El Drunko sign. I just wanted to say that Nat was El Drunko on Friday night.
Just a
He
little
definitely
bit.
was.
I'm feeling it.
Still feeling all right, mate? Or...
I need some WrestleMania pasty.
You feeling a little Dusty Rhodes?
Oh, jeez. I feel like Stone Cold, honestly.
Just in general.
Just
Not
how
great.
Stone Cold feels on a day-to-day, or any specific Stone Cold?
Just when he was drinking, because actually the past 2 weeks he stopped drinking.
Oh, good for him.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that. What a fucking nerd.
Whoa.
What did you think of this match, Nat?
It's actually, I thought it was a pretty good match. 8 minutes, but it does actually seem to drag a little bit. But I checked, this is rated the 5th best match of all Raw Roulettes.
I thought you were going to say this is rated the 5th best match of all time. I was like, Jesus.
No. Out of all the
Big Show cage match, jeez.
out of all the roulette matches they had, this is the 5th best.
So you mean over all the Raw Roulette shows, not just this
Yep.
one?
Yep.
Okay, because I thought you were going to say on this show, and I thought there's no fucking way William Regal's match is better than
Take that back.
Personally, I thought that this was a kind of boring cage match. Booker just like gets his ass kicked for 90% of it, and then I thought the entertaining parts were like the final 10% of the match where he actually gets some offense in. His fucking top rope scissor kick. Wasn't expecting Booker to pull that out at all. That's an impressive move. But yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of just Big Show just dominating the whole thing. I was a big fan of Big Show being dressed as Bull Dempsey here, though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is, but everything we review that has the Big Show in it, he's wearing something new, and it gets worse every time.
Yeah, you just couldn't stick to one thing. I don't know what it was.
Different identity crisis.
Like, he's wearing that weird attire, and then he has like a goatee, but then he also has hair. I'm just like,
His hair looked fucking weird.
I'm just like, Big Show, what are you doing? Is fucking midlife crisis going on here or what?
Okay, I wanted to point out, what do you guys think of? I don't think Booker T did this move, but the Harlem Hangover. Have you guys ever seen him pull that out?
I think I know what you're talking about, but you're gonna have to refresh my memory here.
It's like a front flip leg drop off the top right.
Yes, I have seen him do that.
Just thought I'd point that out. In his later days, I'd never seen him do it, but just a good move.
That's a great name for a move, but you know you can't be doing all those leg drops because if Hulk Hogan and Matt Hardy have taught us anything, you know, it's just gonna end your career.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Too many leg drop spots, not good for the old spine.
Probably why I didn't do it off the cage.
I would have popped hard if he had done that off the top of the cage.
That'd be impressive. Got a big cushion to land on.
I don't know if either of you noticed, but King is really horny on commentary here, and we're only at the cage match. Like, he's like screaming about puppies and bra and panties matches and shit, and we're literally at a cage match between Booker T and Big Show. So it's like, it really set the tone for me here.
Isn't that what you think of when you see Big Show?
I definitely think about puppies when I see the Big Show. There's just a couple of big old man boobies on him.
You're definitely right about King. I don't know what his problem is.
Did you guys also notice that at one stage Nick Patrick just leaves the door to the cage open for like a solid, I reckon, a minute? I've exaggerated here in my notes and said like for 5 minutes, but he keeps it closed for like a minute. Keeps it open for a minute and then closes it just as the Big Show's like walking towards it.
I do remember something like that. I remember it being open for no reason when no one was near it. But
I was like, the fuck are you doing, man? Close the door.
Oh, God damn it, Nick Patrick.
My final note was when Jericho comes out and attacks Booker T, he's wearing a Fozzy shirt, and just respect to him, smart, getting that crossover promotion. Just Jericho always thinking.
How much would it cost us to get a current wrestler to wear a Wrestle Hunks Podcast t-shirt on Raw?
I reckon if it was back in the day, we probably could have got Tajiri or Tommy Dreamer to wear a Wrestle Hunks shirt, because they always were just wearing random fucking WWE shirts they found in catering, so they'd probably be happy to wear something different.
DM Leo Rush, my boy. See if he'll wear one.
He can wear one under his nice little vest.
Exactly.
But did either of you have any more notes about the show opener here?
I don't.
Not really.
So we move on, and next thing we see is Bischoff back at the roulette wheel. Bischoff then says we have our first casualties on Raw, and we see that he's speaking to the Hurricane and Kane, who are the World Tag Team Champions at the moment. Kane says he's going to win the World Heavyweight Championship at No Mercy, and Bischoff tells him that they're putting the belts on the line tonight, and he spins the wheel. It lands on TLC. Bischoff wishes them luck, and Kane says luck is for losers. We then cut back to the ring to see Booker T being carried off to the back by referees, and then we cut to commercial. We come back from commercial, and we get a replay of Jericho attacking Booker, and then we go backstage where Terry is interviewing Jericho, and he says that he's sick of all the ass clowns around here, and Jericho has blood on his knuckles from Booker T, which I actually thought was a pretty cool shot. Like, just having the blood all over him. It's kind of like when Brock Lesnar wiped Zach Gowen's blood on his chest. So
very memorable.
So I think when Booker T got busted open by Jericho should be just as memorable.
Yeah, agree.
But we've got even more backstage shit here. We cut to Bischoff, and he spun the wheel, and it lands on blindfold, which means Triple H is going to be having a blindfold match. Triple H complains, then says, "Why are you saying Conrad Thompson in that? You've thrown me. I don't even know."
What do you mean?
You've thrown me here because why did you even change it to Conrad Thompson?
Jeez, did you not listen to yourself before?
I mean, I mentioned him, but
You said he doesn't like Triple H.
Oh, okay.
You fucking idiot.
So Triple H complains and says Kane's life will never be the same again after tonight. Triple H walks off, but Flair hangs around and introduces Bischoff to two girls who are going to be waiting in his hotel suite. Obviously, he's trying to give Triple H a lesser opponent. William Regal then walks in and he's furious about the Queen or soccer or some bullshit. And then Goldust pops up. Regal asks for Bischoff to give him a respectable match, but Bischoff makes him spin the wheel and it lands on a Las Vegas Showgirl match. And that's coming up in a little bit, but fuck, I really enjoy William Regal when he does comedy shit.
I thought when you read like he's furious about the Queen or soccer or something, I thought Nat screwed with the notes. That was actually quite funny.
So did I, kinda. Like, did Nat fuck with this again? So we cut to commercial and then we come back again. And this time we see a vignette for Batista, which shows him working out, and he says that nobody can control him. I thought this was pretty neat to see, the vignette for Batista. I'd never seen one of these, so it's nice to see him. Nice to see him not with fucking Devon as a fucking reverend.
Yeah, I just had nice as a note.
Just Batista, nice.
Yeah, that's literally what I have.
The old Hollywood star Batista.
I can't believe Drax was getting vignettes played in 2002.
Respect. It was the slow burn. They planted the seeds back in 2002, and look at it now.
Just reaping the rewards.
So next up, we've got Triple H defeating D'Lo Brown via pinfall in a blindfold match. It goes 2 minutes and 34 seconds.
I remember in Oklahoma, they had the Oklahoma School from Blind, had a heck of a wrestling team, an amateur team, that is. And Triple H is talking smack. D'Lo ain't even there.
So they're blindfolding each man in this match with a sack over their head rather than an actual blindfold, which I thought was weird. Have either of you seen any other blindfold matches? Is this common thing to do, or?
There's one, Rick Martel versus Jake the Snake Roberts, WrestleMania. I want to say the one with Warrior Hogan. Is that 6?
That one.
I have watched that, and it is actually a pretty good match because Jake the Snake Roberts points in the direction and the crowd says yes or no.
Yeah, they kind of, at the start of this match, they kind of do that as well, which I appreciated.
In that match, were they both blindfolded?
Yeah. Actually a pretty good match.
Were they both blindfolded? Because didn't one of them get blind? Didn't Jake the Snake got blinded by Rick Martel, didn't he? Did they still blind him?
With the arrogance.
So do they still blindfold him even though he's a blind man?
I think that was the whole point, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I have one that's only one person blindfolded. It's Jamie Noble versus Nidia.
Nice.
Pretty
good one.
Do they use the sack over the head in that match?
Yeah, they do. It's
wow.
It's only Jamie Noble that's got the sack over his head. Nidia can see.
You can't call it a blindfold match if you're not actually using a blindfold.
I don't know if it's called a blindfold match. That's why I wasn't too sure whether I'd mention it, but I thought, fuck, it's Jamie Noble and Nidia. Why not?
I just referred to it as match of the year.
I'm sure Dave Meltzer did too.
So they start this match off slowly creeping around, trying to find one another. They bump into each other and swing, but both miss. Eventually, they find each other and lock up. Triple H backs D'Lo Brown into the corner and has to break because he's on the ropes. D'Lo then walks off, but Triple H thinks he's still there and berates him in the corner. He then goes to shove him, but obviously misses because D'Lo Brown's not there anymore. Ric Flair then runs into the ring and distracts the ref, which allows Triple H to take his sack off, hit the pedigree, and win. What did you guys think of this match? It's a comedy match, but still a match nonetheless.
I thought it was really funny, and I thought for this match, for Triple H to wrestle, the level of opponent that he did, thought it was the right amount of time that they gave it, and it was just it was funny. It obviously wasn't a 5-star Tokyo Dome classic, but it was. I enjoyed it. I had a laugh.
What about you, Nat?
Triple H dropped his sack on D'Lo Brown.
He's really just got his sack out.
Oh, it wasn't too bad, but I mean, it's I don't know. It's not a great match. And was there a reason D'Lo Brown was in the match?
I mean, Ric Flair was trying to Triple H wanted him to give him Bischoff to give him an easy opponent, and Ric Flair gives him those 2 women. So I'm assuming that he's wrestling D'Lo Brown because of that. But yeah, there's no really explanation. Same with the first match. There's no real explanation why Booker T and Big Show are wrestling.
Yeah, that's true.
Personally, I thought this match was actually really good in terms of of comedy matches. I was laughing the entire time. Both men just swinging around and trying to hit each other. Really reminded me of when Bart and Lisa are closing their eyes and just swinging their arms and kicking their legs.
That's a good point. I didn't think of that.
And the spot with Triple H and D'Lo in the corner where D'Lo walks off, that was a bit of a laugh. And then
that was the best.
And then it doesn't go that long. It's only 2.5 minutes, so it doesn't just drag on. And it comes up with a clever way for Triple H to still manage to do heel shit and get his win. So yeah, I couldn't complain. I thoroughly enjoyed this one.
I saw your note there, and I agree. Those blindfolds or the sacks, there's no way that they couldn't see out of it.
Yeah, they have to be completely see-through, to be doing any of these spots.
I can't remember off the top of my head. I probably should have written them down, but there's definitely spots where there's no way you could just tell that the guy's there. I feel they must have hit the ropes or something. I'm how the fuck would they know that the ropes are there?
Yeah, there's a few moments like that. I think for the most part, though, they do a pretty good job of selling that they're actually blind.
Yeah, majority of it's pretty good.
Shout out to Triple H and D'Lo Brown. Fucking didn't think I would be enjoying a match between those two in 2002 this March.
I didn't think a match between those two happened in 2002.
Yeah, I'm surprised that D'Lo Brown is still on the show in 2002.
Good for him.
Yeah, just keep getting those checks, D'Lo, as long as possible.
That's it.
My final point here was, I'm not sure if either of you noticed this, but why the fuck is D'Lo Brown's head shaped so weird?
You know why? Because he does that head roll thing he does when he does his entrance.
That could be why, but have either of you noticed this?
I mean, kind of.
That's how God made him, man.
It's weird, man. It's his head's sloped. It's just, I don't know. I was very taken aback when he made his entrance, and I don't remember D'Lo Brown always looking like this. So after the match, we cut back to Bischoff, who is talking about the TLC match to Christian, Bubba Ray, and Jeff Hardy. They're refusing to do the TLC match and really putting over how dangerous this type of match is. Bischoff then says he's going to allow them to pick their own partners for the match because neither of them have their iconic TLC tag partner with them at the moment. Bischoff then turns around to see Goldust dressed as a showgirl. So next up, we have William Regal defeating Goldust via pinfall in a Las Vegas Showgirl match in 50 seconds.
Security's out to assist Mr. Regal to the ring, and look at that! Boy, there must not be any sun shining in Blackpool, England these days. He looks like a large bottle of homogenized milk. He's got heels on.
William Regal goes by a different name according to Nat, though.
Yeah, William Regal Collar. From Aldi. I don't know if even Pricey gets that, but there we go.
I don't, but I appreciate it.
Just like LA Ice.
I was about to say, I'm trying to think of someone to refer to as LA Ice. All I can think of is LAX.
Yeah, LA Ice is good, man.
If LAX ever run out of steam, I know they're actually doing pretty well in TNA at the moment, but if they ever run out of steam, feel free to change your name to LA Ice. Use that idea.
Just get that picture on the bottles.
Be about off-brand cola. I think that'll really get over.
Like a tour down here in Australia, that'd be awesome.
So William Regal Cola's music hits, but he refuses to come out until he is basically dragged out by security. Regal is wearing full showgirl gear, including heels here. Goldust then jumps Regal, puts him in the corner, and is about to punt Regal's nuts into the sun, but Lance Storm runs out, which distracts Goldust. Goldust goes out of the ring to fight him, and when he comes back into the ring, he gets a brass knuckle shot from Regal, who gets the win. I'm going to ask the question, even though it went for 50 seconds. What did you guys think of this match?
I said in my notes that this is why we're all wrestling fans.
I'm surprised they didn't break out into a "This is wrestling" chant from the crowd.
I would have appreciated that. Yeah, I mean, it sort of just reminded me that, you know, we watch wrestling, but it's fucking, I mean, it's stupid. At some points, it's very stupid, and just enjoy it, have a laugh, don't take it too seriously. If anyone's listening, that you fucking internet marks that complain about everything, just it's wrestling, so don't worry too
Including the
much.
hosts.
Hey, fuck you, man. I love comedy wrestling.
He hates women's wrestling, Brody.
That's true. But
It's
that's
not
neither
true.
here nor
I've told you many times, the Mae Young Classic final was 4+ stars. It was way better than Becky and Charlotte.
that's where he's wrong.
Okay, Grandpa.
Becky sucks, man. I hope Ronda beats her.
Time to take your pills.
I'm Team Raw at Survivor Series.
Oh, of course, you probably want Brock to win as well.
You want Ronda to win.
Yeah, I'm all about Raw. They're the A show, not this B show bullshit.
Oh, this is.
When's the last time you watched Raw?
I watched it last week when the episode was on. They haven't had the episode this week, so I can't watch it.
What happened on that episode?
What happened? Oh, Constable Corbin and Alexa Bliss cut a promo that went fucking 35 minutes. There was also fucking old mate, what's his name? Seth Rollins, that's his name. Fucking doing sling blades left, right, and center.
Yeah, what did he do? Why did he?
He got beat up by Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose gave him the old dirty deeds.
Yeah, but what else did he do?
He lost the tag belts to the old Hounds of Justice.
There we go. Fucking could have just said that.
I was listening to the most important things. Also, I just want to point out here, Alexa Bliss and Braun Strowman, tag partners in the Mixed Match Challenge, he interrupted her promo just like it was nothing. They didn't acknowledge that they were partners or anything. It's just,
Actually, they didn't team up for the last one.
what do you
Because
mean?
Alexa Bliss has been injured.
Oh, shit, I didn't even think about that.
He
Who did
teamed
team
up with Ember Moon.
Oh, that's lame.
Monster Eclipse.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Monsters, Inc. Feel free to use that, WWE.
Anyway, no, this match was shit. So
What did you think, Nat?
If you didn't know you were getting a TLC match, you'd want your money back.
Yeah, you'd be slightly concerned if you were in the live crowd and you're up to this match. You'd be a little bit concerned.
Yeah.
This whole segment's really just about laughing at William Regal in drag. Like, it's not at all about the match. I mean, there's a little bit of a run-in from the Un-Americans, but it's all about just being like, this dude's wearing heels and he's wearing makeup, so let's have a laugh.
I mean, yeah, Regal played into it and did a good job. But
This is probably the funniest 50 seconds of Vince's life.
God damn, pal.
You know he was laughing his ass off fucking in Gorilla watching this.
He's wearing heels, damn it. Yeah, of course he was. He fucking 100% he loved this.
I think I just wrote here that at least it's entertaining because of how committed to the bit Regal is. Like, if he kind of half-assed it, it would be like, what the fuck was the point of this? But because he goes all out, it's kind of funny. I also wanted to know, why is Regal the only one that has to wear full showgirl gear here? Like, Goldust just wears like one or two things, and fucking Regal's wearing the whole outfit.
I feel like Regal had makeup on as well, didn't he?
He did. He had full makeup
did.
on, which was really bizarre. Like, why did you think that was necessary?
I don't know. It's just being mean because he's a foreigner. That's the thing, man. WWE, man. They just hate foreign people.
Yeah, they fucking just like, if you're not from here, fucking dress up as a woman.
Fucking super racist.
Can't wait to say Shinsuke dress up as like one of them kimono girls.
100% they're gonna. Eventually, his career's gonna get into like fucking just goofy shit like this, isn't it?
I feel like Shinsuke of all the people could probably pull it off though. So
Shinsuke's a funny guy, man.
he is. He knows speak English, but
That's funny.
Also, feel like it probably would have went under the radar for you guys, but JR gives a shout out to Dame Edna on commentary, so...
I heard the name, and then I thought... Like, wait, is Dame Edna Australian?
I believe so, unless there's a second Dame Edna out there.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so when I heard that, I thought, oh, that's weird.
I mean, when
I
you
just didn't
Google
know
Dame
anything
Edna,
about
it
it.
comes up with the Australian cross-dressing drag dude, so...
Yes, yeah, I thought that was weird that they brought that up, but I didn't really care to look into it. So
Has anyone got a Dame Edna impression?
I couldn't even tell you what Dame Edna sounds like.
I was about to attempt one, but like I realized before I did it that I was just going to go into Robin Williams from Mrs. Doubtfire. Are those voices similar? I don't think so. Hello. So you don't know? Is that Mrs. Doubtfire? Is that Dame Edna?
Or it's a William Regal in drag?
Why don't we get like a Patreon and like as the content on there is like that video Darcy has of me with the Mrs. Doubtfire from Woman in the Snow?
Yes.
That's got to be in there. What a quality video.
Just quietly here, Google refers to Dame Edna Everidge as a book character. What fucking book is she in? It's a person,
Right.
damn it. It's a real life person.
Might be autobiography or something.
It's got me heated. So after this barn burner, we go to commercial, and when we come back, we have Terry interviewing Christian. She asks him who his partner is going to be, and he says it won't be any of the un-Americans because he'd actually like to win. that was a great line from Christian. I was like, when he started saying that, I'm like, oh, he doesn't want it to be any of the un-Americans because just previously he talked about how dangerous the match is. So it's like, oh, I don't want my stable guys to be in it, but then he just busts out that. So Christian claims that he won all of the TLC matches by himself, and I'm pretty sure he claims that he won 3 TLC matches here, even though there'd only been 3 TLC matches and he hadn't won all of them. Jericho then cuts in and he reminds Christian that Jericho won the SmackDown TLC and proposes that they should team up so they can cost Kane the match. Christian agrees. And during this promo, Jericho calls the SmackDown TLC the Forgotten TLC, which, upon reflection, I think is pretty true, especially because it was only with this promo that it made me realise that Edge was full of shit when he said he was undefeated in TLC matches leading up to his TLC match with Cena.
Yeah, it was forgotten, so we forgot
Doesn't
about
count.
it. Yeah.
Hey, fuck you, that match is good.
I haven't seen that one, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I watched it ages ago, but I don't really remember. But like, did either of you realise that like Edge was just fucking lying that he was undefeated in TLCs?
I watched it in the shower the other week. Not joking.
How much time did you have in the shower, mate? That's a long match.
Sometimes you need a long shower.
Get a good scrub in.
Bring in a stool, you know?
Big old depression shower, sit on the floor.
I hope you brought a bucket in there to collect the water, you know?
Tip it back on myself.
We're in a goddamn drought, Nathan.
The farmers are doing it hard, and you're just taking a 45-minute shower to watch TLC.
Yeah, well, I have no comeback to that, so maybe they should buy the WWE Network and see how addicting it can be.
That's pretty true. There's some hidden gems on the network. And
You know,
not
you
just-
can get the network for only $9.99.
Or if you're in
but-
Australia, it's varying prices.
But if you sign up for this month only, it'll be free, and you can get Survivor Series for free.
And just quietly, if you keep creating new emails, you can get the network for free forever.
What? Don't they track your credit card?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure like people just create new emails.
Nice.
So, good for them, I guess. Cheating the system. Why cheat and steal? Eddie Guerrero would be proud.
Nathan could sell the network and just be like, hey, you can watch it in the shower. And people would probably buy it.
That's when we're big enough to get a Patreon. One of the videos could be Nat just filming himself in the
A
shower.
review in the shower.
Just being like, hey, get the WWE Network. You can watch it in the shower. Here's my review of NXT UK match between fucking Mandrews and insert other British guy.
Just say Wolfgang or something.
Yeah, Wolfgang.
I don't watch WWE NXT UK in the shower.
Where do you watch it?
I don't deserve my time. I watch 205.
Yeah, that's my boy.
205. taped
Jive.
because it's not live anymore. Get it?
I get it. That's a good one.
It's 205 Liv.
Oh, like Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan should be GM.
Yeah, I know Liv one.
Yeah, definitely.
Next up, we see the RAW Roulette Wheel again, and Bischoff is with Stacey Keibler and Trish Stratus this time. Bischoff says that their match type has already been decided and that it's a blank on a pole match. He says that he's decided it's going to be a paddle on a pole match, and then says they're going to go double or nothing, and the wheel spins again and it lands on Bra Panties. Stacey and Trish leave, and then Bischoff grabs Stacey's ass for no reason. Just wanted to ask you boys, why was Eric Bischoff such a pervert? We've had him pop up, I think, twice now on shows that we've reviewed, this and the Halloween SmackDown, and both times he's just all about sexually assaulting women.
I mean, if I had the opportunity to grab Stacey's rear, I would probably take
her hindquarters.
Yeah,
Grabbing her derriere.
there you go. I definitely don't blame him. But I like how it says go double or nothing. Was there a fucking section on the wheel that says nothing? Like,
yeah, I don't think Bischoff really understands the concept of double or nothing. It was gonna be double no matter what. There was not gonna be nothing.
it's gonna land on a second thing, man. It's gonna, of course.
Oh, what if it said singles match?
So it'll be a singles match on a pole. Or a paddle on a pole, singles match.
No, it'd be paddle on a pole, but a singles match.
It's already a singles match. There's two of them.
Yeah, but if it said singles match on there, it'd be nothing, wouldn't it?
Singles match with Queensbridge rules.
Why are we debating this in 2018?
I just want to know what he would have done if he's decided it's a paddle on a pole match, and then he spins the wheel and it lands on blank on a pole match again. Are we going to do double poles or?
Two poles.
Paddle on a pole on a pole match.
What if it was a steel cage match?
Oh, that would have been weird. Can you imagine Stacey Keibler wrestling a cage match?
Shit.
She'd be dead.
How dare you, man? She could work.
We'll get to it in a minute, but, not as bad as I remember her. Next up, we see Tommy Dreamer and Spike Dudley chatting in the locker room. Bubba Ray comes in and asks Dreamer to be in the match with him, and he agrees initially, but Spike looks upset, and Bubba asks what's wrong. Spike then says he was hoping to be his partner, so Bubba changes his mind. And Nat,
stupid.
Nat, what do you got against Spike Dudley?
How shit was that segment? Yeah, Tommy Dreamer, I'm going to choose you because you're fucking hard as fuck. And Spike Dudley has a cry.
He's like,
I want to be in the TLC.
I watched you and your brother wrestle all the TLC matches. All the TLC matches.
Okay,
Three,
you're in.
Spike.
I never get a turn.
Fucking shite Dudley.
Mom, it's my turn on the TLC match.
Shite Dudley can fuck off.
That's funny.
Hey, be kind to him. He takes some ridiculous bumps, so...
Yeah.
Just because
Yeah,
he's
well, how
his
about-
damn wiener.
How about Don't Break Your Neck from La Resistance?
Oh, La Resistance, fuck.
It's their fault. The fucking green boys. They don't know what they're doing.
Next up, we see Stacey walking backstage, and some random dude tells her that her shoe is untied. She then bends over, and this fucking creep just stares at her ass. This is officially the pervert edition of Monday Night Raw.
Are you telling me you wouldn't do the same thing?
It's just so creepy. Was her shoe even untied? I didn't like double check like to see if she actually ties her shoe, but like,
Hey, it doesn't matter. Oh, exactly. I was not looking at her shoe. Trust me.
yeah, you were looking at that dude.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck's that dude doing?
That dude was rocking a half chub.
Yeah, he's having a good time. That's for sure.
Well, the live crowd were having a good time because next up, Trish Stratus would defeat Stacey Keibler via sexual assault in a Bra Panties Paddle on a Pole match in 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Now, two things come to mind. Number one, you should be thinking about this match, but you should also be thinking about your wrestling match later tonight.
Oh, I know. I'm thinking about a match today, or I'm thinking about a match as I look at this Divas Undressed magazine that, by the way, is on sale now. Are we going to see this tonight? Or are we going to see this tonight? Yeah, baby. These Divas are going to be undressed.
And before I get into the little match summary here, I just wanted to point out that this match was part of the sticky, gooey fun on WWE Divas Desert Heat. So I really enjoyed that randomly popped up after Nat advertised that so beautifully for us.
I would assume that everyone's gone and purchased it already after hearing Nat give the ad for it.
I think you can actually watch like the whole thing on YouTube. So there's no excuse not to watch it.
Oh, BRD.
But yeah, like, I'm pretty sure someone just uploaded it. It's like full, like, 40 minutes.
Whoops, was just going to go watch.
Oh, they don't have the full thing, but if you type in WWE Divas Desert Heat, the WWE have uploaded like 50 videos, like, for Desert Heat. There's like Desert Heat Introduction, Desert Heat Trish Stratus, Desert Heat Tori Wilson, Desert Heat Rough Riders, Desert Heat Tori Wilson, Desert Heat Stacy Keibler.
Why is this on there? Why did WWE put this on their YouTube?
Who knows? This is what uploaded 8 years ago.
I'm going to watch the Stacy Keibler one while we review this match.
I think I might have found the full episode of Desert Heat. No, it's just a picture of the cover for an hour and a half.
Just get the audio of it.
Wow, that was a disappointment. But for this match, we see King reading Divas Undressed before the match actually starts, which has Stacy Keibler on the cover, and they also advertised the 2002 Babe of the Year broadcast on WWE.com, so this has gone balls to the wall with this fucking shit. So for the match itself, Stacy attacks Trish from behind. She then slams her head into the title belt multiple times, which is actually, it was pretty vicious coming from Stacy Keibler. Stacy then rips Trish's shirt off, but then Trish rips Stacy's shirt off in response. Stacy almost gets Trish's pants off, but Trish reverses it and strips Stacy to win the match. While Trish is celebrating, Stacy hits her with a huge kick to the head, then grabs the paddle off the pole. Trish stops her before she can use it though, and uses the paddle herself. Stacy runs off, and then Victoria comes out. Victoria and Trish Stratus brawl, and eventually Victoria beats Trish Stratus down, giving her a moonsault in the ring. What did you guys think of this match? I think, Pricey, you would have loved this one.
Yep, I just got 8-year-old Pricey was in heaven. I was in love with Stacy Keibler as a kid, so just over here, I think we all won the match, and then insert joke about something being sticky here.
Your Foxtel remote would have been a little bit sticky. You wouldn't have been able to change the channel.
Absolutely. Stuck on Fox 8 for the rest of eternity.
I mean, you couldn't complain with that though. Fox 8 is really the only channel you needed.
It baffled me when my parents would watch something other than Fox 8, to be honest.
Chuck on the lifestyle channel. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, what the fuck are you doing, Mum? Come on. Simpsons are on.
Nat, what did you think of the match?
Moving on.
Wow, that bad? Or is it that good?
Wrestling wise, it sucked. Pricey wise, it's good.
It was good. Come on, guys. I enjoyed it.
Personally, being if I can be serious here for a moment, this wasn't the worst Stacy Keibler match I've ever seen. Like, obviously, it isn't amazing, and like, it's not a match you'd be like, oh, that was 3.5 stars. But I think they managed to hide Stacy's flaws enough for this match to be passable. And like, the way it starts with her slamming Trish into the title, I thought was pretty cool. And they don't try to make Stacy work some kind of long match. They kind of stick to her strengths, which include doing the kind of put the foot in the throat in the corner, and that's it.
Shows off the long legs.
That's all you need to do. Play to the strengths. Don't try to make her do anything she can't. It's just booking 101.
What's your favorite Stacy match then?
What's my favorite?
Do you have a favorite, Nat? I feel like you probably could bust out a favorite.
Let's just say the Schoolgirl Battle Royal.
Is that an actual thing?
Yeah, the Taboo Tuesday 2004.
Wow.
You're going to disrespect the championship match she had in England?
Yeah, was it Insurrection or Rebellion?
No, she had a match on Raw against...
oh shit, really? It was on Raw?
One of those UK Raws, so... just a Stacy Keibler fan over here, just knowing his business.
Personally, I think on the August 23rd SmackDown taping, Christy Hemme and Stacy Keibler's lingerie contest was the best match that she had.
I mean, it's hard to argue that, isn't it?
Or maybe on the October 25th Velocity when Jillian Hall defeated Stacy Keibler via pin. That was
Jillian went over.
That was a good match.
You know, if you say UK as uck, that's Pricey when he sees Stacy Keibler.
What?
And then he can't change the channel.
Oh, there's a lot of things I can't do when I'm watching Stacy.
I'm just having a look through Stacey Keibler's career here in the WWE, and I don't believe she ever won a singles match. She beat Molly Holly. That was her one singles win, and that came on October 4, 2004.
Nice.
That's impressive. She won one singles match.
Yeah, but she won over a lot of hearts.
Samoa Gun.
She did, and she got to date George Clooney. So who's the real winner here? Was it fucking Trish Stratus? Was it Nydia? Was it Jillian Hall? No, it was Stacey Keibler.
Exactly.
She also got to be in How I Met Your Mother, so...
She's an easy A.
Is she actually? Fuck, I need to rewatch that movie.
She's done well for herself.
I wanted to mention here, Trish's music having I Don't Care What Y'all think at the start of it. Didn't know that was a thing. I was very caught off guard by that.
Yeah, I thought I had that written down. I forgot to mention that. But I thought that was weird.
I was like, is this a different theme? And then it just played the theme like normal. I'm like, oh, I guess this is like Hardcore Holly's How Do You Like Me Now theme.
That's one of my favourites.
It's pretty good, and I can't find any examples of him actually using it. It's pretty hard to find on like YouTube itself.
I feel like the only reason I know that is like one of the old SmackDown games had it as his song, and for some reason I've played it as Bob Holly, and I remember hearing it. I'm like, oh, how do I like you now, Bob? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question.
Trish is wearing a lot of clothes in this match. Like she's wearing pants and stuff, which I thought was a smart move. They're harder to rip off compared to the garbage that Stacey Keibler was wearing. So I just thought it really showed where they were at in their career. Stacey, just a bit green. Trish Stratus, just a smart in-ring veteran.
Yeah, this isn't her first rodeo, this one.
It's psychology 101. I also didn't know that Victoria did moonsaults.
This might have been the only one.
Like, when she went to the top rope, I'm like, what is she doing? Then she did a moonsault. I'm like, I've never seen her ever do that in a match, ever. But do we have any final thoughts on the Bra Panties Paddle on a Pole match?
I think we've covered everything.
Well, then we cut backstage, and Jonathan Coachman is interviewing Jeff Hardy. He asks Jeff who his partner is going to be, and Jeff asks somebody off screen if they want to do this, and it turns out to be Rob Van Dam. We then cut to commercial and come back where Coach is trying to interview Victoria now to get some answers for her beatdown on Trish. Victoria then says that she's got Trish's attention, and she alludes to some things that Trish has done in her past.
Was it Katie Vick?
Yeah, there's fucking maybe Trish. I was an accomplice on Katie Vick. But after that little, subtle hint at Trish's past, we get Al Snow defeating Test, the Great Man Test, via pinfall in a Las Vegas street fight in 5 minutes and 39 seconds.
Test is in the ring waiting on his opponent. We don't know what type of matches it's going to be. We've seen it all here tonight. Well,
what does everybody want?
Hey, wait a minute. Hey, there's Al Snow. Al Snow. Al Snow on Raw.
And this is Al Snow's return from filming Tough Enough, and the crowd actually pops like fucking crazy for him. They go nuts. I was not expecting that at all. They really wanted to see Head.
Yeah, I mean, we all love Head.
What does everybody want? What does everybody want? Like,
Shoulders.
Knees and toes. So Bischoff shows up on screen because they haven't picked a stipulation for this match yet, and it turns out that it's going to be a Las Vegas street fight. They start the match off by going under the ring and just throwing every possible weapon they can find into the ring. Snow then later on goes under the ring and grabs a bag. He puts on a Vegas-themed like Hawaiian shirt and then grabs a bowling ball, which he isn't able to hit Test with initially, but then he grabs it again and hits Test with it this time to get the win. What did you think of this match?
I thought it was solid. I thought the pop was weird at the beginning. I don't know why Al Snow was getting a pop like that. And I wasn't really paying attention when you were just listing that start of that stuff. So did you mention that? Oh, I missed it.
Yeah. So as far as I know, like the reason he's getting that pop is like Al Snow was filming Tough Enough, and they mentioned on commentary that like he's returned from filming Tough Enough. So I'm pretty sure that crowd goes nuts, blows the roof off, just for Al Snow coming back from Tough Enough.
Because that's all I heard was that like on commentary. I was letting look out for why that was a thing.
My initial thought was like, oh, he must have come back from injury or something, or like he left the company and he randomly returned on this night. So people were like, oh shit, Al Snow's back. But no, just Tough Enough, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, that still sort of confuses me. I don't know how we got to pop that big. That's well played to him. But I thought this was a pretty good match. Like overall, I thought it was a pretty good hardcore match, and I just have here. Why didn't we cover this in our test episode?
I mean, I think we kind of should have, because I put in my notes that, like, I agree with you. This is a pretty good hardcore style match, and I genuinely thought this was better than any of the hardcore matches we had to watch during Test's career episode. I didn't watch them all. I think one of you watched one of his losses to Rhino, but I watched a few of them, and they were pretty average, like forgettable. But this match here was actually worked pretty well.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I was the one that watched both of his matches with Rhino, so this is definitely the best hardcore match I've seen Test wrestle.
What did you think of the match, Nat?
I'll just say I was very disappointed that Al Snow didn't do the bowling ball to the nut spot.
I was hoping that was going to happen.
I was waiting for it, because when he grabs it out, Test sitting in the corner.
Yeah,
for some reason, Test decides to get up, like, and then Al Snow was overwhelmed and he drops the bowling ball out of the ring. Inside the ring, sorry.
Test just wanted to protect his cojones.
He's a fucking idiot.
Hey, he was dating, who was he dating at this time? Kelly. Later on he'd be dating Kelly, so he needed to save his, the old family jewels.
Do you mean his testicles?
his testicles.
Also obvious when you say that.
I don't know.
Just blanking, mate.
Don't talk about his fans like that.
Hey, but you know what, though? Kelly with Test, she definitely wasn't a tease.
Kelly's not a tease.
She's a 19-year-old. She wouldn't be a tease. Not like that fucking Tori Wilson.
We haven't said that in a while. Bring that back.
And bring it back. Bring back mentioning Kevin Thorne every episode.
Oh, my boy.
Yeah, so I thought it was a pretty good hardcore style match. Wasn't happy that Test gets a jobber entrance here. That was a little disappointing, but sometimes the show runs long. You can't have everyone make their entrance on TV. Also, on a more serious note, there are heaps of unprotected weapon shots to the head here, and I just thought most of them go to Test, and Test's brain must have been scrambled after this match. He's just getting battered with literally everything else Snow can get his hands on.
Yes,
good.
I agree.
God, don't speak ill of the dead, man.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Yeah, we always very respectful. So any final thoughts on Al Snow's triumphant return to Monday Night Raw?
Bloody return of the year.
They probably would have won the Slammy for return of the year, I reckon, if they had done the Slammies that year. So we cut back from commercial, and King and Steven Richards are already in the ring. Bischoff spins the wheel, and it lands on a "It's Legal in Nevada" match. Nobody knows what the fuck that means, but then the Godfather's music hits, and a bunch of hoes come out, followed by the man himself. Godfather gets on the mic and says that the winner of the match gets to take a ride on the hoe train, which I was in awe of everything that was going on at this point. I was not expecting, when I saw it's legal in Nevada match, I was like, is this just going to be like a street fight, fucking Falls Count Anywhere match or something? And then Godfather hit, and I'm like, oh, we're in for a treat here. Fucking the Godfather, Papa Shango has made his return. But next up, we get Jerry Lawler defeating Steven Richards via pinfall in an "It's Legal in Nidia" match. 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Hey, the only thing that was legal in Nidia was Jamie Noble.
Right there, baby.
Oh, girl, kiss her.
So in this match, we see King pull his strap down, which allows him to hulk up. King then hits his top rope fist, but Stevie Richards gets his foot on the ropes. Richards then attempts a pile driver, kind of mocking King, but King reverses it into a pin and wins. What did you guys think of this very short match? Another very, very short match on this Raw Roulette.
It's definitely a match that happened.
It's the shit.
It certainly occurred. There's video evidence of this match occurring.
You can't debate the fact that this match happened, but that's just pimping ain't easy, is all.
It was like it was set up for Jerry Lawler to get some puppies.
I'm just angry that Jerry Lawler abandons his good friend, good old JR Jim Ross, on commentary for the most important match of the night. Like, the hoes aren't going anywhere, just wait, and then after you see the absolute barn burner in the main event, you can go off in the night on a happy note.
He just can't contain himself.
He really can't. Like, did you see when, like, he pulls one of the girls onto the ground with him after he wins, and one of them the one that he pulls down comes extremely close to a nip slip.
Yeah, I saw that. Noticed that she was in a blue shirt.
Yeah, and then when like they're walking up the ramp, he's like trying to kiss on them and stuff, and I was like, oh, this feels disgusting and real, just gross.
Yeah, he's a bit of a creep.
I just want to know, why are both of these guys so keen to fuck prostitutes? And as soon as they find out the stipulation for the match, they're fucking raring to go.
That's the biggest match of Steven Richards' career, I would have thought.
I mean, he wasn't involved in the WrestleMania 19 Women's Triple Threat, but that was an iconic moment when he hits himself in the head with the chair.
I'll show you, you'll see.
My personal thoughts on this match was that out of all the matches I've ever seen, this was one of them.
Certainly was.
I couldn't really say any more than that. It was 2 minutes and 24 of, like, technically it was wrestling, I guess. But yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about this match, much like a lot of the other matches on this card that don't even manage to make it to the 3-minute mark. But after we come back from commercial from this match, we get a vignette for Randy Orton this time, with the world's worst music played over the top of it. However, I thought a lot of the predictions his father makes during this vignette are ridiculously accurate. Like, he says that Randy Orton is going to be like an all-time great in 10 years' time, and by 2012, Randy Orton was basically, you couldn't really argue he was an all-time great. He'd won the championship a billion times, so it's just weird to see them like talking up this green-ass guy with a shitty haircut, and then it all came true.
I thought it was weird that they had both members of Evolution, like, air vignettes on the same Raw.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
So, yeah, good for them.
And that would have been just real nostalgic at this point when you were watching it, surely?
I was probably... This is the equivalent of a Stacy match for me, a bit sticky.
Oh, fuck, Randy Evolution's coming. Line in the Sand's going to be playing soon.
Randy Orton's my boy.
You really were a big Randy Orton mark, and you loved it when he won that world title.
Bob Orton really put over his dropkick.
He did. Oh, that was another thing that was so accurate. Bob Orton's like, he has the best dropkick I've ever seen. I'm like, people basically, like, that's a unanimous, like, agreement that Randy Orton has one of the best dropkicks of all time.
Him and Hardcore Holly.
There's someone else who has a real good dropkick, but I can't remember right now.
Dolph Ziggler's pretty good.
I don't remember seeing Orton do any recently, but definitely for the majority of his career, his dropkicks were spot on.
I think a contender for best dropkick of all time is Shaggy 2 Dope from Insane Clown Posse. Did you get this reference, Nat, or were we too drunk on Saturday night to remember?
No, I'm guessing.
Sorry, what's that?
Do you get the Shaggy 2 Dope best dropkick of all time reference?
Yeah, you showed me on Saturday, and I said I knew what you're talking about. Yeah,
you showed me as well, man. That was a good one.
Oh, if you haven't seen,
you showed me on Friday. I mean,
did I?
Did you?
No, I'm just saying.
It was Saturday, I'm pretty sure.
If you showed me on Friday, I definitely wouldn't have remembered that.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
For the listeners that don't know, just if you get a spare moment, look up Shaggy 2 Dope dropkicks Fred Durst. You won't regret it. Fucking 2018's wild. Fucking Insane Clown Posse trying to dropkick the WWE's favourite band in the whole world.
Limp Bizkit.
The whole world. After this vignette, we cross over to the World in New York, and we see Randy Orton signing autographs for fans. And, like, come on, man. Nobody wants this goober's autograph in 2002. No one gives a fuck about Randy Orton.
That's vintage Orton.
Like, he signs an autograph for a girl, and then she's, like, goes in for the hug. I'm like, she's a plant. She doesn't even know who Randy Orton is at this point.
He's a heartthrob.
Unless she was watching OVW, she has no idea who this dude is. With his dumb fucking second rope taunt where he holds his wrist.
Hey, man, he's giving it a go.
Yeah, he tried. He tried. So after this little random cross to the world, we get Terry interviewing Kane, and she implies that Kane has a big penis here or something. Like, she's like, "Oh, I'm with the big red machine, Kane, and I can definitely like tell you that he is big."
I listened, so I was like half paying attention to this. I think I did watch this Saturday night before the big party night, but I was sort of like half paying attention to the promo, and like I was like I heard it, I wrote the note down. I'm like, I think she made a dick joke. I'm like, no, I need to go back and listen to that just to make sure. She says, "I'm standing here with the big red machine, and take it from me, I do mean the big red machine."
Like, why does she say that? It's so out of place.
Like, why are we talking about Kane's hog?
Terry shows zero personality in any of the backstage interviews she does, but then randomly she's just like, you know, that Kane right there, Glenn Jacobs, mayor of Knoxville County, big ol' hog.
Yeah, he's shown her his big red machine.
As soon as you said that, my first note that I made was, chill out, old lemon panties. Old giggle panties.
Giggle panties. No, good for her.
Shout out to The Rock's promo at Backlash 03. That's one of the greats.
Everyone should go back and watch that. That's the best.
Kane says that he's finally happy in this interview, and that he's going to be the first man to hold all three belts at the same time: the World Heavyweight Championship, the Intercontinental title, and the World Tag Team Championships. And then he says that the Canaanites know that he can do it. Canaanites has got to be the worst fucking name for anything ever.
I don't understand what that's like. What's he stealing that from? The Knights? Like, what's...
I don't know. Maybe Nat's got some fucking details here.
There's the Canaanites, the testicles, the people for The Rock. There's someone else.
No, I understand all that, but like the actual name of it, like he's replaced Kane with something. I don't understand what that is.
Kane's Danes.
That could have been a good name for a stable that he had.
Look, Dolph Ziggler's Dolphins are better than fucking Kane. Let's be honest.
Is that an actual thing?
Maybe, I don't know, but maybe I've made that up. I think I've heard it somewhere.
If he doesn't come out on Raw tomorrow and cut a promo addressing all of his Dolphins for supporting him for winning the tag titles, I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah, hey, shout out to Dolph. You can use that, man.
So after this embarrassing mention of Canaanites, Kane then says Triple H can make all the threats he wants, but then Coach interrupts him to tell Kane that Triple H and Flair are beating up Hurricane. So Kane runs off, but by the time he gets there, referees and agents have already broke up the fight, and Hurricane has had the shit beat out of him, and as I mentioned earlier, he had his mask taken off, but as Nat mentioned, he did have the old paint over the eyes, so he's just thinking ahead, that Shane Helms. But before we get on to the main event, Nat says he's got some Jamie Noble and trivia, like Nydia. Get it?
Thank you for announcing it fully. I didn't think you would.
Jamie Noble.
I don't think that's going to be the name for it for forever, but we'll keep changing it. So do you want me to get into it?
I'm excited. Last week's was a barn burner. Unfortunately, I accidentally read the Wikipedia page coincidentally and knew them all. So hopefully this week, more of a level playing field.
Well, I struggled for a few questions here, so see how we go. Okay, first question. How many Raw Roulettes have there been?
I'm just going to go off the top of the head. I'm going to say 6.
I'll guess 3.
6.
Oh, spot on.
2002, 2003, 2008, 10, 11, and last one, 13.
This is not a rib.
Is there going to be questions about how many Sin City SmackDowns there are? Because I know the answer to that.
There's only one.
There's 2.
What?
They,
I thought
they,
there
did
was
a
one.
Sin, they did Sin City SmackDown 2012, and they did one last year as well.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I don't know if they
I
did
don't
like
have that in
roulette
my
wheel stuff,
questions.
but they did call it Sin City SmackDown.
I don't have that in my notes. Okay, next question. How old is King here?
I'm going to say 55.
Pricey?
Yeah. Oh, 54. Sorry, I thought...
What'd you say?
54.
He is 52 here.
Wow.
1 year less than Shawn Michaels and Undertaker in 2018.
I was actually about to say that. Yeah, he's younger than... Wow. He
He's
can still
also
kinda
only
move in
one.
this match.
He's also 1 year older than Kane. That Kane is in 2018.
That's disgusting.
It's impressive that like King could still kind of wrestle at this age, and then 10 years later, when he has his TLC match with The Miz, he could still kind of like work then, and he's like still working now.
Exactly.
It's just interesting to see like how differently people age. Like Undertaker's obviously aged horribly, and he can't work anymore. But a guy like King can still kind of go at that age. It's just interesting.
Okay, next question. How old is Al Snow here?
Oh, he looked the same age for his whole life. I'm gonna say 37.
42.
Well, AJ Styles is 41.
Nice.
Al Snow is 39 here.
Ooh,
Okay, wow.
you don't want none of Al Snow.
Last question. This is the good question. It's actually good. Those other two are fucking shit. How many double champions are there who held the IC and tag belts at the same time? And if you can name them.
Wait, IC and tag belts?
Yep.
Well, Kane, Seth.
Yeah, that's what I had with. Who else would have done it?
Triple H.
Yep.
Wow. I can't. Yeah, I can't really think of any other than Seth and Kane.
I don't know. Other
Jeez.
than Triple H.
Well, give a number guess if you don't.
I was going to say The Miz, but The Miz held the US title.
5 maybe. There might be a couple that we've missed.
Yeah, I'd say something like 5.
It's 7.
Is Kofi Kingston one of them?
No, we'll go in order. We'll go HBK and Diesel, which they both did it with. They both did it with each other. Owen Hart,
Nice.
Ken Shamrock,
Jesus.
and then Triple H, Kane, and Seth Rollins.
Wow.
So 2002 to 2018, that only happened once.
Yeah, man,
You son of a gun.
I only
So-
remember the ones that I was alive for. So
Insert my trivia music.
Yeah, we're going to have to find you some trivia music. Has there been a kind of a game show segment with fucking music on Raw recently?
Just do Blue Pants.
I'll go back to the episode with Santino and the Love Show.
Yes.
I'll see if that has some music.
Also, speaking of Santino, if you ever bored, listeners, search out Santino's episode of Cake Boss. It's a nice little wholesome show there that Pricey and I were watching before the podcast.
It was nice. It was nice. I'm a dessert man, so I enjoyed it.
Sometimes you just want to see some grown men bake some cakes.
I'm always in the mood for that, to be honest.
So we've reached the main event of the first ever Raw Roulette. It sees Kane by himself defeating Chris Jericho and Christian, Bubba Ray and Spike Dudley, and Jeff Hardy and Rob Van Dam in a 4-way tag team table, ladders and chairs match for the World Tag Team Championships. This match goes 25 minutes and 7 seconds, and Meltzer gives it 4.25 stars.
Let me ask you a question, Kane. How happy is Katie Vick? Yeah, that's right. I know, Kane. I know it all. 10 years ago, you killed her.
During this match, there's quite a few notable spots that happen. We see Jeff hitting a leg drop from the top of the ladder through a table to Kane on the outside of the ring, which takes Kane out for most of the match. Jeff then also tosses Christian off the top rope onto a ladder and damn near kills him. We see Spike Dudley attempting a Dudley dog, but is thrown through a table outside of the ring by Christian. Bubba hits a bubble bomb to Christian off the top of the ladder, and RVD follows up with a 5-star frog splash, which is then followed up by a swanton, which Jeff misses. There was a pretty cool little sequence there. He then runs at Bubba, who back body drops Jeff out of the ring and through a table. This is like a peak Jeff not giving a fuck about his body, just taking the most absurd bumps here. We also see Jericho doing a Walls of Jericho to RVD on the ladder, and he's actually about to win after he does this Walls of Jericho, but Kane, who's been sleeping for most of the match, stops him. Kane chokeslams Jericho off the ladder. Kane then does his iconic sit-up on the ground, climbs the ladder, and wins the match. But after the match, Triple H and Ric Flair come out, and Triple H asks Kane, how happy is Katie Vick? Triple H then reveals that Kane murdered her, and he calls Kane a murderer. Nat, you really can't speak ill of the dead like that. You can't call Katie Vick Katie's dick.
No, it's how happy is Katie's dick.
I'm going to say not very happy. Especially not after Triple H got done with her.
Oh, goodness me.
Goodness gracious.
That was definitely a segment that happened.
So what did you guys think of this match?
Did you make mention of Bubba Ray's concussion in this one?
No, I don't think I did. Well, explain.
Do you know about this, Nat?
Pardon?
Were you aware of his concussion in this, or?
Who had the concussion?
Bubba Ray, because we sort of spoke before about this match.
It makes sense because Chris Jericho is fucking kicking the shit out of him and yelling at him.
Yeah, that's I don't know where I heard it. It was a podcast. I feel like Edge and Christian's podcast. I don't know who exactly was on the show. It would have been one of these guys, but they spoke about how Bubba he took that bulldog from Jericho off the top of the ladder. He spiked his head into the mat. He was pretty concussed. So like you mentioned, that they were sort of calling spots and trying to make sure that Bubba was okay, and somehow he got through this match because it happened fairly early on. So yeah, it's just some of the spots like how concussed he was, and then he got like into his position for spots, and there was one where he had to like get in front of Kane in the corner for Jeff to hit the poetry in motion.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did most of these spots. He hit the Bubba bomb afterwards as well off the top of the ladder. So, I mean, kudos to him. I think that made this match more impressive. That Bubba was pretty out of it, and then the guys were able to work around him.
I'm impressed that he safely did a back body drop to Jeff from inside the ring to outside through a table while he's that concussed.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, that has so much like room for error, and this dude's just fucking out of his mind and still flips Jeff Hardy through it perfectly.
So I think this match is really good, and the fact that Bubba worked injured for most of it makes it even more impressive.
What about you, Nat? What did you think of this TLC 4?
Well, I think I was a bit harsh, but I called it the crawl for all. Because literally the whole match, everyone's crawling around on the floor, talking, looking for the next spot. I don't know if that's because Bubba Ray was dead.
I did see
But once I noticed it, I kept noticing it. I think that's what ruined it for me.
Now that you mentioned it, I think it might be when Spike gets thrown through the table. They show a different angle on the replay, and you see Jericho clearly like saying something to Bubba, like telling him to move out of the way or something. So then now that that's all just kind of clicked for me now.
And then he has no clue when RVD and Jeff do the Van Terminator, the coast to coast.
Yeah.
He gets yelled out to move.
Yeah.
It was a good match though. I think the ratings probably deserves it. It's just I think that ruined the match for me. I've seen a little bit of this match before, but it was good.
But yeah, that's sort of what I was when you were saying all the crawl for all and all that. I didn't want to spoil it because I wasn't sure if you guys knew about that, but I had to go back and check because I definitely remember Bubba got concussed in something. So I checked before the match and it was this one, and then it was as soon as I saw the bulldog, I was like, yeah, that's the spot.
Outside of like the one little replay where I noticed that Jericho was like saying shit to Bubba, I didn't really notice that they had to keep like ordering Bubba around. So yeah, it didn't really affect the quality of the match. I thought this is a really fucking good match, and it's clearly a severely underrated TLC match because nobody talks about it. Everybody talks about TLC 1 and 2, and as mentioned during this show, like, nobody talks about the SmackDown one, and nobody really talks about this one either, so... Like, it doesn't have as many iconic spots as the first couple of TLCs, but I'd say it's probably up there with them purely in terms of, like, the overall quality.
Yeah, no, they definitely went all out. There's a lot of brutal spots, so I think they all done well.
I think it's, like, especially impressive because, like, the other ones are generally, like, the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian, but this match is basically people just slapped together and Kane on his own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, like, none of these guys have really worked that extensively together as a tag team, and they still managed to put on a barn burner.
Did you... there's one point where Bubba takes a chair shot to the head as well after the concussion, which it's not a chair shot. I think he like catches the chair and Van Dam kicks it into his head or something. And
yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
It just, watching that, it sort of hurt me. I was like, oh, he's already concussed. Like, he doesn't need that as well. So that was brutal to watch. But yeah, it's just a really good match. There's not much more to say about it, I don't think.
I had a few little tidbits and notes here. Bubba Ray has a different theme for this match, or like at this point in time, and that caught me off guard initially. And then I'm pretty sure that this is the one and only song that they use in the menus for SmackDown Shut Your Mouth. Which, like, I was always confused why they used like a Dudley Boys theme, just like, oh, what do we use for the menu music? Oh, just the Dudley Boys theme, nothing else.
I can't remember SmackDown Shut Your Mouth, so...
Oh man, it's quality.
Wait for it.
The career mode, you get to walk around backstage and shit.
Oh, I remember that. I just definitely don't remember the menu.
Also, speaking of entrance music, what the fuck is Christian's entrance music? And his attire is garbage. He looks like fucking Kurt Hawkins.
He's had that theme for ages.
That's the first time I've ever heard that theme.
Really?
At last, you're on your own.
I was disappointed when I did.
Even though he's with the Un-Americans.
Classic theme.
I had because Christian's one of my favorites of all time, but I'm all about like Christian, ENC Christian, and then like post haircut Christian, not this one in between. I was like, oh, that shitty theme song and the gear, just not for me. Yeah,
the gear's not great. I'm not sure why he thought that was a good idea, but you know, everybody goes through their weird phases.
You just got to try and stand out, man.
My last little note about the match, or I guess the segment in general, is that I had no idea that this was going to be the start of the garbage Katie Vick angle.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise to me as well. I sort of had a feeling that might happen because during the show, like, Kane was talking about his match coming up with Triple H, so I thought, well, they must start that angle pretty soon, but I didn't know what would happen after the main event. I
wasn't sure whether it was this feud with Triple H, or because he, like, a year later when he gets unmasked, that's from a feud with Triple H. So, like,
yeah,
I wasn't sure whether, like, oh, is this the Katie Vick one, or is the later one Katie Vick? But yeah, when he came out and he's like, how happy is Katie Vick? And I'm like, oh shit! And the crowd just does not react at all. They're like, what?
Oh, they'll know soon.
Oh god, the world wasn't ready.
Ahead of its time, do you think?
Honestly, I think the Katie Vick angle is up there with the House of Horrors match and all those fucking weird vignettes that Bray and Randy did during that era as the best things the WWE have ever done. we need to review the House of Horrors match, by the way. That was definitely something I sat through.
That was something. That was a match.
I've never watched
probably
it.
Wasn't a match. Didn't you?
Never watched it.
Ooh.
Oh, you missed out on something just brilliant.
Yeah.
Save it for a live reaction.
I love that like Nat loves shit wrestling, but then there's sometimes like where Brandon and I just like we just have to sit. We're sitting through like live pay-per-views.
Yeah, and we have to watch it.
We get hot garbage, and Nat just hasn't seen it.
You know what we were also robbed of? That would have been an absolute garbage match. Sister Abigail versus the Demon King.
I was so prepared to see what the fuck Sister Abigail was.
I was reading about it today. Apparently, like, he was supposed to come out like in full drag and makeup and shit. Like, he's gonna wrestle in a dress and shit.
Oh goodness me!
That would have been an all-timer of just like, what the fuck is this? And instead, we got a good match between Finn and AJ.
Yeah, we can't really complain with what we got.
So I guess that does us for Raw Roulette, unless you guys have any final notes on the main event.
No, I think that's about it.
Well, I guess that leads me to asking, what did you guys think was the best match or segment of the night?
Yeah, TLC, head and shoulders above all the other matches. But second best was the Stacey Trish.
The old Bra Panties Paddle on a Pole match. I don't think they've ever done Bra Panties Paddle on a Pole match too, so...
Mate, they perfected it. You can't get better than that.
They should have had one at Evolution.
Oh, that would have been great.
What about you, Nat?
Best match, I'm going to say TLC. In segment, I'm going to say The Godfather.
Personally, I'd have to go with, obviously, TLC for best match. Best segment, probably when old Lemon Panties mentions Kane's big hog. Because it was just so out of the blue, out of left field that I just couldn't help but just have a chuckle. So
I don't think she ever did anything like that ever, like apart from this, which was great.
Yeah, like we've actually seen a few of her like interviews through doing this now, and she's pretty straightforward. Like not a great interviewer either. And then apparently, I don't know whether she came up with this herself or someone wrote it for her, but it's just had to mention Kane had a big hog.
I hope this was a shoot and she just didn't tell anyone and she just thought, no, I'm just going to fucking say it.
Her and Kane were like dating off screen. She's just like, the whole world needs to know that my man has a big hog.
I'm just going to put him over on Live Raw.
So what do we think was the worst match or segment of the night? I think this is probably going to be a little bit harder to determine compared to the best.
I'll go King and...
The Showgirls one.
Really? I'm going Stevie Richards, Jerry Lawler.
Yeah, I think I have to probably agree that Stevie Richards and Jerry Lawler is probably the worst. Like, it's just... I don't know, the match isn't great, and the stuff that happens after it is kind of just awkward and creepy and weird.
Yeah,
Whereas, like...
I think, like...
Oh, you go, Pricey.
I just think that, like, the D'Lo Brown stuff, like, that was an entertaining match, and then, like, the Goldust, William Regal, yeah, like, that was kind of funny as well. It's just this one, like, they all had, like, it was, like, a short match, and it was supposed to be entertaining, but I think this was, like, the least entertaining of all the post-match stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Like, that match really doesn't have any, like, one, like, little shining, like, positive moment. Whereas, like, the cage match had a pretty cool, like, ending with Booker T hitting the old top rope scissors kick. Then you've got the blindfold match, which is funny. Even though Nat didn't enjoy it, I thought the Showgirl match was kind of funny because William Regal went all out. And then the Divas match was, I guess, entertaining because of Victoria's beatdown and randomly busting out a moonsault. But then you get to, like, Jerry Lawler and Steven Richards. It's just a pretty average match. And then you just get to see King be real creepy to a bunch of women.
You know, I don't need to see that.
Those women, they're somebody's daughter.
Yeah, it's just... He has no heart.
He really doesn't. So what are our overall thoughts on the very first Raw Roulette?
The TLC match saved it, but a couple funny moments throughout. But overall, it's not the best Raw you'll ever see, but an amazing main event. So they did well for that.
What about you, Nat?
It was a pretty good show overall. I guess really the TLC match saved it. There was a lot of shit matches. Let's be real. And if you didn't know the TLC match was on the card, or if it didn't happen, you'd want your money back.
Yeah, the in-ring quality is subpar apart from the main event.
I think, like, it's a fun show, like the undercard stuff with, like, the comedy matches and stuff. But definitely, like, if you don't have a really great match like they did in the main event, I think people would look back on this and be like, oh yeah, remember that stupid Raw where they, like, spun the wheel around and, like, then there was a dude in drag and then a weird paddle on a pole match and then King got to fuck some prostitutes. People would, like, it would be looked back on really poorly, but because it's got the TLC, people are like, oh no, that's a decent show. It's got a fun main event. It's got some funny stuff leading up to it. So it really does get saved by the TLC.
That's the reason they got a second Raw Roulette.
And then the rest is history.
As they say. Hey.
Shout out to Bella.
You know what she just barked at?
What did she bark? Was it Pepper?
My
Did you show her a picture
my
of Pepper?
21 balloon.
She's a party pooper. I just assumed you showed her a picture of Pepper. She's just not a fan.
Pepper.
So this leads us to the aftermath of Raw Roulette, and the next WWE pay-per-view to take place after this episode was No Mercy 2002, which was held on October 20. The match card featured Chris Jericho and Christian, who had become the World Tag Team Champions, defeating Booker T and Goldust. Tori Wilson would defeat Dawn Marie in a match that Dave Meltzer would give -half a star, which is impressive because that match only went 4 minutes, so it must have been the absolute shizzling drits. We also got Rob Van Dam defeating Ric Flair via pinfall, Jamie Noble defeating Tajiri to retain the Cruiserweight Championship, Triple H defeating Kane to retain the World Heavyweight Championship and win the Intercontinental Championship, Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle defeating Edge and Rey Mysterio via submission to win the WWE Tag Team Championships, Trish Stratus defeating Victoria to retain the Women's Championship, and Brock Lesnar defeating The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match to retain the WWE Championship. So this is actually another pretty solid pay-per-view going by Meltzer's star ratings. It's not quite as good as the other one, but outside of the women's matches, all of the matches on the card are rated pretty solidly, and the average match rating ends up being a 2.46. So they're really on a hot streak here. Like, you've got the WWE Tag Team Championship match is almost 5 stars according to Meltzer. The Heavyweight Championship is 4, and then generally everything else on the card is pretty solid, except Tori Wilson and Dawn Marie stinking up the place.
Yes, I agree.
So the tradition of Raw Roulette would continue on after this event, taking place 5 more times, as Nat mentioned in his trivia. And SmackDown would also go on to introduce their own version, which was Sin City SmackDown, and that's occurred twice. But yeah, that does us for Raw Roulette. Thanks for listening to the Wrestle Hunks Podcast. You can find the show on Twitter at WrestleHunksPod. I'm on Twitter as @SourceMarlow. Pricey is on Twitter as @EvilBrodyPrice. And Nat is on Twitter as @NathMarlow. You can also find the show on Instagram with the same handle as Twitter, @WrestleHunksPod. And you can find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, not Google Play because they're racist against Australians. And feel free to give us a rate on iTunes. Although, watch out, because you were kind of a little spooked out by iTunes and their rating the other day, weren't you, Nat?
Yeah, they bloody gave me a fake iTunes name. But I didn't make that.
I'm impressed.
Sloppy Ronalds.
Are you sure you didn't make that?
I didn't make that.
That sounds hilarious, to be honest.
What a name, though, Sloppy Ronalds.
When I saw that, I'm like, well, that's got to be Nat. Like, it has to be. Sloppy Ronalds. That's something he'd fucking come up with. Amazing.
Didn't you say you used that for something, though?
No.
I thought you did in the text. You're like, I use that for some sort of thing.
Swear I haven't.
Well, yeah, watch out for iTunes. They'll get you. But this brings us to the part of the podcast where each member of the show suggests something that we should cover for next week's episode, and that we put up in a Twitter poll for the fans to decide. And this week's poll is going to have a Survivor Series and War Games theme, because we'll be recording the day after TakeOver War Games 2 and on the day of this year's Survivor Series. And I've thrown up a real early Survivor Series, which is bound to be full of absolutely terrible and boring matches, which is Survivor Series 1990. Pricey, what are you suggesting for this week?
I mean, that's the debut of The Undertaker, isn't it? 1990?
Yeah, that's the first Survivor Series, so...
I got Survivor Series 2010. From memory, I think it's one of the lower rated Survivor Series, so I thought Why not? We always got to have like a modern one in there. So this might win because people like don't give a shit about the 90s.
Yeah, people really don't like old stuff on Twitter.
Yeah. I don't know why. You'd guess that it'd be worse than the current day stuff, but this is the infamous Survivor Series that Kaval invokes his championship opportunity against Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental title. We also have Randy Orton and Wade Barrett in the main event for the title, so nothing but the best for us.
I really like that suggestion. I didn't know this was the Kaval one.
That's the best one.
So Nat, what are you suggesting?
I've got Survivor Series 2008. It's got Team HBK versus Team JBL. A really bad Divas Survivor Series match. We've got an Undertaker casket match.
Who's he wrestling?
One that's...
Big Show.
Oh, wow.
And we've got Triple H versus Vladimir Kozlov.
Jesus.
And I'll leave it at that.
Is that the one that Cena comes back?
Yes, the versus Jericho.
Nice.
We also have our wildcard option, and this week I took it upon myself to put in a War Games match for this option. It's probably not going to get voted because it's WCW, and apparently everybody on Twitter hates WCW. But the wildcard option is the War Games match that happened on Monday Nitro on September 4, 2000. This also has, I'm pretty sure from memory, it has David Arquette on it, and it also has the Insane Clown Posse. So if you want to see Insane Clown Posse hit some drop kicks, David Arquette and War Games, vote for that one.
So yeah, I mean it's lucky you put that into wildcard because I don't care for WCW, so it wasn't going to get a nomination from me.
As if you don't want to see some War Games matches.
I'll stick to last year's one. That's the first one in my memory, the Undisputed Era winning.
So, either of you got anything to say before we sign off here?
No, just everyone should have wished Nathan a happy birthday, and if you haven't, do it now while you got the chance.
Do it now, or forever hold your peace.
Or Santino will get angry at you.
You're the son of a gun.
What about you, Nat? You got any match suggestions for this week?
Just say the bloody line.
Well, that's all for this week. Stay hunky.
Didn't lose my phone.